Do you want to sound more professional in English? Have you ever wondered why some sentences focus on the action while others focus on the doer? Understanding the difference between active and passive voice can help you improve your writing and speaking skills. Welcome to The Grammar Doctor, where learning English is easy and fun. Today we are diving deep into one of the most important grammar topics, active and passive voice. By the end of this lesson, you'll know how to use both effectively, and you'll even get to test yourself with a fun quiz at the end. So stay with me. Every sentence in English has a subject, a verb, and an object. The way we arrange these elements changes whether the sentence is in the active or passive voice. In active voice, the subject performs the action. In passive voice, the focus shifts to the object, and the doer of the action may be left out or mentioned later in the sentence. Let's look at an example. In the active voice, we say, "The chef cooked a delicious meal." Here, the chef is the subject, cooked is the verb, and a delicious meal is the object. But what if we want to focus on the meal rather than the chef? That's where the passive voice comes in. The sentence becomes, "A delicious meal was cooked by the chef." The object, a delicious meal, moves to the front, and we use the verb was cooked to show that the action happened to the meal. Active voice is generally more direct, strong, and engaging. That's why it's preferred in most writing, especially in storytelling, business communication, and casual conversations. For example, "The company launched a new product" sounds more confident than "a new product was launched by the company." In academic writing, scientific reports, or formal documents, passive voice is often used to emphasize results rather than the person performing the action. For instance, "The experiment was conducted in a controlled environment" sounds more formal than "scientists conducted the experiment in a controlled environment." Passive voice is formed using a form of the verb to be, followed by the past participle of the main verb. Let's look at different tenses in both active and passive voice. In present simple, "the teacher explains the lesson" becomes, "the lesson is explained by the teacher." In past simple, "they built the house last year" changes to, "the house was built last year." For future simple, "she will complete the project soon" turns into, "the project will be completed soon." In present continuous, "they are painting the walls" becomes, "the walls are being painted." In past continuous, "the police were investigating the case" changes to, "the case was being investigated." In present perfect, "he has written a novel" turns into, "a novel has been written by him." In past perfect, "they had finished the assignment before the deadline" becomes, "the assignment had been finished before the deadline." There are situations where passive voice is more appropriate than active voice. If the doer of the action is unknown, unimportant, or obvious, passive voice is preferred. For example, "the window was broken" does not specify who broke it, but it conveys the necessary information. Similarly, in formal or professional settings, passive voice helps maintain a neutral tone. "Mistakes were made" sounds less accusatory than "you made mistakes." To make sentences more engaging, writers often avoid passive voice unless necessary. Instead of saying, "a mistake was made by the student," we can simply say, "the student made a mistake." This makes communication clearer and more direct. However, Passive voice is useful when we want to be diplomatic, scientific, or emphasize the action rather than the subject. Let's put your knowledge to the test. Try answering these questions in the comments. Convert this active sentence into passive. The manager approved the new policy. Which sentence is in passive voice? A. The scientist discovered a new planet. B. A new planet was discovered by the scientist. Rewrite this passive sentence into active voice. The invitations were sent by the event organizers. Comment your answers below, and I'll reply to let you know if you got them right. Congratulations! Now you know how to use active and passive voice effectively. Keep practicing, and soon you'll be able to switch between them with ease. If you found this lesson helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe to the Grammar Doctor, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a lesson. Keep learning, keep growing, and see you in the next video. To dive deeper, practice rewriting more sentences in both active and passive voice. Try writing a short paragraph and changing it from active to passive, then back again. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Also, look at newspapers, books, or articles and try to identify whether the sentences are in active or passive voice. This will help you become more aware of how both voices are used in real-life contexts. Remember, active voice is preferred in most situations, but knowing when to use passive voice effectively can enhance your writing and speaking skills. Keep experimenting with different sentence structures, and soon using both voices will feel natural and effortless. Happy learning!